As more and more experiments in particle physics and powers increase at the particle accelerator, Alice has explained to us that there will be disruptions in the grid. The grid is an over-glorified examination of each universe and multiverse. In our story Tales from the Parallels we outlined a few. Here are a few more examples of disruptions to the grid. Mr. George D. Bryson arrived at the Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky in 1953. Mr. Bryson was shown to room 307. After unpacking he went down to reception to see if there were any letters or messages for him. The receptionist gave him a letter addressed to Mr. George D. Bryson, room 307. This might not seem strange except that the letter was not for him. It was for another George D. Bryson who was the previous occupant of room 307. How about another? A reporter named IRV Cupsinet came to London in 1953. He was in London to report on the coronation of Elizabeth II. IRV was staying at the luxurious Savoy Hotel on the Strand. In one of the drawers of his bedside table he found several items which had the name Harry Hannon on them. This was interesting because IRV knew a Harry Hannon who was in the famous Harlem Globetrotters. Harry was a friend of Irv's. 2 days later IRV called Harry to ask him if he had ever stayed at the Savoy Hotel. Harry said he had, but before IRV could tell him about the items he found in the drawer Harry said he had been in the Hotel Le Mouris in Paris 2 days before and found a tie in a drawer in his room, with the name IRV Cupsinet on it. More? Messing with the grid affects events that has happened in the past as well. Many examples of our opposites run into each other all the time such as in Monza, Italy, King Umberto went to a small restaurant for dinner, accompanied by his aide-de-camp, General Emilio Ponziavaglia. When the owner took King Umberto's order, the king noticed that he and the restaurant owner were virtual doubles in face and in build. Both men began discussing the striking resemblances between each other and found many more similarities. Point 1. Both men were born on the same day, of the same year, March 14, 1844. 2. Both men had been born in the same town. 3. Both men married a woman with same name, Margarita. 4. The restaurateur opened his restaurant on the same day that King Umberto was crowned King of Italy. 5. On the July 29, 1900, King Umberto was informed that the restaurateur had died that day in a mysterious shooting accident, and as he expressed his regret, he was then assassinated by an anarchist in the crowd. Other strange things have happened. A German mother who photographed her infant son in 1914 left the film to be developed at a store in Strasbourg. In those days some film plates were sold individually. World War I broke out and unable to return to Strasbourg, the woman gave up the picture for lost. 2 years later she bought a film plate in Frankfurt, over 100 miles away, to take a picture of her newborn daughter. When developed the film turned out to be a double exposure, with the picture of her daughter superimposed on the earlier picture of her son. Could through some incredible twist of fate, her original film, never developed, had been mislabeled as unused, and had eventually been resold to her? Speaking of objects, sometimes they follow ones that have imprinted on them. Actor Frank Morgan played numerous roles in the iconic film The Wizard of Oz. He was a taxi driver in Emerald City, fortune teller Professor Marvel and the Wizard of Oz himself. For Professor Marvel, MGM's wardrobe department wanted the look of a down-on-his-luck gentleman. So, Frank Morgan and director Victor Fleming went to a second-hand store and bought a nice-looking but tattered coat. While shooting the film, Morgan turned a pocket of the coat inside out and incredibly saw the name L. Frank Baum, the author of The Wizard of Oz. Both Baum's widow and the coat's tailor confirmed that the jacket originally belonged to Mr. Baum. And there's this. A computer error gave 2 American women named Patricia Ann Campbell the same social security number. Okay, that's weird enough, but when the ladies were brought together to rectify the error, they made a few more similar discoveries. In addition to having the same name, both were born on March 13, 1941. Both of their dads were named Robert Campbell. Both got married to men who served in the military in 1959 and had 2 children, aged 19 and 21. Both had studied cosmetics, worked as bookkeepers, and both were even interested in oil painting. Stay paranoid, my friends.